Chad Buchanan lives in Indiana and is an Indiana native who recently moved back from the live free or die hard state of New Hampshire, having an undergrad degree from mechanical engineering from Rose-Hulman Institute of Technology and a Juris Doctorate from the Robert H. McKinney School of Law. Chad's work adventures have taken him from designing diesel fuel systems at Cummins to being a senior vice president of Fidelity Investments, leading a team of negotiators for all of Fidelity's supply chain contracts worldwide. With other entertaining stops between, Chad is now the COO and general counsel for Primacati Inc., a national procurement strategy and legal process outsourcing consulting firm based in Indianapolis. Chad loves live music, being outdoors as much as possible and traveling with his amazing wife and challenging kids. Please join me in giving Chad a warm Sparks welcome. That's a good song.
Good evening. Can everybody hear me okay? Just want to make sure. All right. You guys are all natural-born negotiators, whether you realize it or not, and you do it every single day. Most people tend to think of negotiations in a business context, right? You're negotiating some contract, trying to sell your service, or maybe you're in a personal life trying to buy a house, buy a car. I'd suggest to you that it's a lot more than that. You're negotiating every single time you talk to your partner about where you're going to go for dinner, or about whenever your kid says, how late can I stay out on date night? That's negotiation. It's my business every day I do it. If I'm not negotiating a contract for a client, then I might be training others on how to negotiate. Some negotiators are simply better than others, right? It is a skill. It can be practiced. It can be learned with training. And what I want to try to do tonight in a very little time is just to give you 2 quick suggestions on how you might be able to use that in your personal life. So, one of the things that you think through is I always try to research the opposing party as much as I possibly can. I want to know where they went to school. I want to know their style. I want to know if they're going to be argumentative, if they're going to use walking out of the negotiation room as a tactic. I want to know all these things. Well, guess what? Your family's been researching you for years. They know exactly what's going to push your buttons. They know how to soften you up. They know how to get what they want to get out of you. At least mine does. So they always try to do this, right? I mean, it's just all the time. 2 things. So first, if you want to think about how to do this, first you've got to control the process of negotiation. In a business context, I always tell people, I never answer the phone from an opposing party in a negotiation if it's an unscheduled call. I let it go to voicemail. Why? Because they got the advantage. They know what they're calling you to talk about, right? I mean, they know they've got a plan. You're sitting there, you're working on another email, or you're doing something different, you just got off another phone call, you're distracted, you don't know what they're calling to talk about, but they do. Their advantage. Same thing with my kids. I come home after a long day of work, I'm tired, I just want to relax, right? No, they've been thinking for hours what they're going to do to ask you to get whatever they want out of you. They just do. They do that. So what I've found that I've started doing is I just don't play their game. I listen to them for 2 or 3 minutes because I want to get an idea of what they're going to ask for, what they really want. And then I tell them, hey, time out. I've got to go change clothes, get out of the suit. I'm going to go get a glass of wine or a cocktail. We'll talk about this after dinner. We'll figure it out. Advantage back to me because now I know what's going on. Second thing I would tell you is make sure that you manage perceptions. I'm going to give you really 2 quick examples on perceptions and how they can differ. When my daughter Gracie was 4 years old, I come home from work. She meets me at the door as usual. I asked her about her day. She said, Dad, I got grounded from watching my favorite videotapes, my cartoons. And I'm like, oh, really? She's like, but can I watch my DVDs? So after thinking about this for a minute, right, I'm like, hey, what exactly did your mom say? And she said, Mom said no videotapes. Well, to a 4-year-old, videotapes and DVDs are completely different things, right? In his perceptions, different things. Same thing with maybe your partner. Hey, I'll get something done soon. How soon is soon? Well, you've all heard the joke. Hey, ladies, when a guy tells you he'll get something done, you don't have to ask him about it every 6 months. It'll get done. Again, it's perceptions. You got to manage through that. You always got to check for understanding. Make sure that you guys are all on the same page. So that's really what I wanted to get across. And by the way, if you want to know if Gracie got to watch the DVDs, she did. I think it was a really important lesson on how important the exact words you use are. So thank you.
Thanks, man.
Ah!